Right then, this is a road test video, and this is for a Honda Civic 1.8 EX automatic. This is the I-Shift model. This particular car is registered EX08YLF, and mileage at the start of this road test is a wonderfully low 17,074 miles. It's a real rarity, this car. The reason we do the videos, as I say in all of them, just very briefly, is just so customers get to see the cars we're selling actually in operation. That way, if there's any issues relating to the car, then I can and I will relay them back to you. So it's a critical video, and as I said, if there's anything to report, you will hear about it. Road test is also done on exactly the same road test route as any prospective buyer will go on, so hopefully it will be representative of what you'll feel yourself if offered a test drive after checking the car over. So coming to the car itself, this is going to be a slightly longer video than normal because with the I-Shifts I do like to explain how to get the best out of them, so do bear with me. So I'll do the main stuff. Most of it is going to be fairly obvious because of the mileage of the car, because the engine starts absolutely instantly. There's no warning lights, of course, on the dashboard. It feels and it drives as new. The engine is sweet, keen to rev, idles beautifully. It's been running for some time now, and it's running as a third on the temperature gauge, which is exactly where it should be on a Honda car. Engine then feeds through into the automatic I-Shift gearbox. I'll explain more about the operation of it in due course, but suffice it to say, all the gear changes exactly as they should be. Very smooth in operation. There's nothing amiss in any way, shape or form about the gear change or the quality of shift. Steering of the car tracks bullet straight. There's no vibrations coming back through the steering wheel of the car. I'll check it at higher speeds in due course, but I drove it earlier and it was absolutely fine. Again, as with the rest of it, just feels, it's really bizarre to jump in a car which is effectively 10 years old and has only covered 170 miles a year or something in that time. It's incredible. It just feels like a time warp getting into an old car again. It's a wonderful thing. As I said, the steering is precise, it's beautifully weighted. I've always loved the steering on these Civics. It's very direct, it's very keen to change direction. It's got a real fluidity in the way it drives as well, which I really love. But it's a dynamic car to drive, that you can just drive along normally like this, or you can have a lot of fun in them. They really are great cars. Suspension of the vehicle, again, what we're looking for in these road tests is just any signs of any wear underneath the vehicle that might kind of usually manifest itself in sort of clonks or bangs coming from underneath the vehicle, but there's absolutely nothing at all on this. It's smooth and quiet in operation, exactly as you'd expect, of course, but it really is in fantastic order. I like the ride of the car. Some people say that over sort of sharper ridges they can get caught out, but that's much the same with any modern car with sort of relatively low profile tyres. It rides beautifully at these speeds. Only kind of sharp crests will ever catch it, but the flip side to that is you get so much more agility to the car as well. So it's a sort of a compromise manufacturers have to decide upon, and I think Honda did a very nice job on this one. Brakes on the car, lovely solid brake pedal. There's absolutely no pulsing or vibrations coming back through the brake pedal at all. All in very fine order. Also, they pull down straight and true. It's not pulling left, right or otherwise. The rest of it, in all honesty, I mean it's amazing sitting in here. The dashboard looks like new. I adore this dashboard. I think it's a brilliant design. Obviously the EX spec, so you get the high-up sat-nav system there. All working absolutely perfectly. Dual zone climate control system likewise. This one benefits from having the glass panoramic roof, which wasn't standard on the car, and that lets a lot more natural light into the vehicle. That's really, really nice actually. But the best part of this dashboard for me is definitely this, what's directly in front of me now. You've got this two-tier design where you've got the speed up nice and high, and then you've got your main sort of rev counter and other information down below. It just means that you can keep an eye on your speed really, really simply without having to take your eyes off the road. It's absolute genius, it really is. And it's all working absolutely perfectly. So coming back to the gearbox, so if I can spend a bit of time on this one. I always think of the I-Shift gearbox, and you know, some salesmen, I'm not going to name any names, and obviously at Honda at the time, I think they were a bit lazy. They just told people this is your new automatic car without explaining actually how it operates, because it's got so many lovely things about it. However, you've got to remember, as much as it has an automatic function, it is actually the manual gearbox out of the manual car. It has 6 speeds, and I always think of it as a manual car with the option to use it in automatic, and that's the way I like to view it. I've driven the whole of this road test currently in automatic, and it's very smooth in operation. It drives absolutely beautifully. It's worth pointing out, at any time and at any speed you can select the manual setting on the gearbox, and all you do is literally pull this lever on this side, just tap it to the left, and then it gear matches what, so it said third there. So to change up the gears, I literally just push the gear lever forward on a little nice sort of quality spring up to 6th gear. Simple as that. Come down the gears, put it back towards you, put it back again, and it blips the revs as well, so it smooths the down changes down for you as well. It's absolute genius. It works brilliantly. You can also use these paddles on here. Your right hand does the up changes, left hand does your down changes. So if I come to a corner now, I know I'm probably going to want 2nd gear. So 6th, 5th, 4th, 3rd, 2nd. It's as simple as that. It really is. However, I don't know why, and it's each to their own, but I actually prefer using the gear lever down here. It's just that my hand would naturally in a manual car go down here, but perhaps it's just a sign of my age that I like things like that. A couple of really clever things with it as well. Worth pointing out absolutely straight away, you cannot stall a car, even in manual mode. If you were distracted driving down the road, I'm in 6th gear currently, and what I'm going to do at the end of this road is deliberately not change down, and I'll come to a stop. The car will change down gear for me because it knows the revs are too low for the gear, so it won't allow you to stall. Obviously it won't change up when you accelerate away, so the engine will just rev. So you'll have to remember it, so you'll know to do that. But it's just so clever. It's so clever, it really is. The advantage of them, of course, is the fact that unlike most autos of this type, and certainly on this age, most of them ran around with 4 or 5 speed torque converter gearboxes, which basically sapped fuel and energy out of the car. This, obviously, by using the 6 speeds, meant that you got all the advantages of the manual gearbox, easily capable of 43, 45 miles per gallon. I get a lot more out of them personally, but it just means you, like now, I'm more than happy to drive along in manual mode. I prefer to do that because I can see what's coming up ahead of me. I can, exiting roundabouts, you're not floundering in the wrong gear, because an automatic will invariably want to be in a higher gear than you want to be in, because it hasn't got eyes, it's just trying to save fuel. And also overtaking, it becomes a far less stressful operation when compared to when you use an automatic, which has a horrible habit of changing up halfway through the overtaking manoeuvre, which can be absolutely terrifying. So anyway, I'm coming to the junction now. Just on the binnacle there it says 6th gear, and as I come to slowing down now, it's 5th, 4th, 3rd, 2nd, 1st. And that's without me touching any of the gear levers. I mean, it's that clever. I think it's a wonderful design. It's really wonderful design. It's just, my explanation isn't perfect, far from it. But as I said, I honestly believe that I used to have one of these when I was based in Bristol, So the first part of my trip would be along roads like this, where I'd always drive in this manual mode. But the second part of my trip would be in sort of stop-start traffic. So immediately I'd tap it across to the left and put it into automatic, so I wasn't having to sort of be on and off, you know, just thinking about what gear I'm in. I'd just leave the car to do what it wanted. And I just think it's got the best of both worlds. It really has. The car drives absolutely faultlessly, in all honesty. It's been very, very well looked after, quite clearly. It's in beautiful, beautiful condition inside and out. And whoever is lucky enough to grab this car, which, as we point out in the advert, it is not the cheapest for, you know, the age of the car it is, but you know that you can throw the books away when you're looking at a car with just 17,000 miles in the clock. It's not even run in yet. You're effectively buying virtually a brand new car. That's what it feels like to drive, certainly. However, as I always say in these videos, if I've forgotten something, then obviously don't hesitate. Do give me a call and I'll be happy to answer any questions you might have.